Thanks, Kim, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Hussam, Erhayel, the head of projects at the Apolitical Foundation.
And I'm Jessica Hendrick. I'm the communications coordinator at the Apolitical Foundation.
We are very excited to present to you the democratic innovators of the 21st century politicians Hall of Fame. Our foundation works on restoring hope in political leadership where we need it the most. And that's why we're here for the second year presenting the Hall of Fame together with Democracy and Culture Foundation in Athens Democracy Forum. And this is not, since this is not the first year, there was a first cohort, as Kim said. And I want to test you. How many of the first class of the Hall of Fame do you recognize?
Show of hands if you know all 10. At least Kim and Paul will have their hands raised. What about half the list? Do you recognize half the faces? Ooh, we've got some in the back. So yeah, there are many of you who come to the Athens Democracy Forum each year, so you may recognize some.
Yeah. Who knows at least one?
Yeah, okay. Lots of people, lots of people.
Yeah, so our job is done, basically.
Yeah, our job is done. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Great. So these are the Hall of Fame for 2023. You can also read more about them on our website. And for example, you have Audrey Tang, the first digital minister of Taiwan. You have Garcia Francesca, who is actually coming to Athens Democracy Forum tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow. So. Yeah, she's a close advisor of ours, so a lot of love to her. And if you see her tomorrow, wave her down, ask her what her favorite innovation is, and let's get talking.
Yes. So the question is, why do we need democratic innovation? And this is what we're trying to, to answer at the Apolitical Foundation. Why it is important to us. And in the spirit of innovation and the spirit of engagement, we want to keep this interactive. Okay. Yes. So I'll ask you kindly to take out your phones, to pick up your phones, basically, and either scan the code, the QR code here, or go to menti.com and type in the code 58008343.
Yes, democracy is all about participation, so we are very happy that you will be participating with us. This will be a very fun exercise.
Okay, I'll give you a couple of seconds to tell me when you're in. Show me what.
Yeah, thumbs up if you're in. Great.
Okay. One more time. Raise your hand if you're in.
All right.
Okay, we need more people. Okay. All right, so can we shift to Menti, please? All right, so we go for question number 1. So the code is 58008343. Menti.com.
The code is at the top of the screen.
Yes.
So you can see it.
So the first question is, when was the last time you voted? Was it this year?
It's the year of global elections, so many of us may have already voted. You're in the first column. Or maybe you're in the 1 to 3 years ago column. Your election hasn't come up yet. I'm an American, so we have upcoming elections.
Maybe it's more than 3 years. So like me, because I live in Germany, I'm from Jordan, and they don't allow voting from outside Jordan, so I didn't vote for the last 8 years. Or maybe you never voted, and I see some people never voted.
So come find us after this event.
Yeah, maybe it's some of the Teens for Democracy, so let's see. Okay, I see we have enough answers. Okay, one more. Next question. How well do you know your representative? On a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know your representative? 1, you don't even know their name, and 10, you're best friends, basically, with them.
And if you are best friends with them, again, come find me after, because we'd love to connect you to our work. Okay, we've got about an average of a 6. I saw the first response was a 10, so this person is really pulling his weight for the team, him or her.
Politician.
Yeah,
or
maybe.
She's a politician.
right. 6. It's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You know your politicians. That's good. Great. Next question. Would you run for public office? We have 3 options here for you. No, I have not considered running for public office. I have considered running for public office, but have not yet done so. Yes, I have run, or I'm going to run for office.
I love seeing all the responses of people who have run or are going to run for public office.
Yeah.
And we have some exciting new data about this that we're going to share later. So it's really interesting to see how this room stacks up.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not as bright as the data here, I would say. People here are ready to get into politics. So that's, you are at the right place, I would say.
Yeah.
Great. So next question. What prevents you or would prevent you from running for office?
Yeah, this is a really important question, and we do a lot of work at the Apolitical Foundation around this. We have looked into this year about the way technology helps or hurts people running for office. And we have some great insights there on our AI and political leadership report if you're interested in finding out more.
Yeah, and I see mental well-being also is getting some attention here, which is also something that we work on really a lot, basically, at the Apolitical Foundation. Our report, Mere Mortals, tells the story of the mental well-being of politicians, basically. Yeah, but there is a lot of other. It's very interesting, yeah.
It is interesting. And there's some diversity there. Don't have the financial resources. One really nice point to mention is worrying about your family's well-being. It's not just about your own, but your family's.
Absolutely. Is one of the others really want to tell us why? Please. Not interested. Okay.
It's valid.
You know?
Yeah.
The system doesn't work. Okay? Great. So next question. And this is the last question. Describe the state of democracy in one word.
What would be your one word, Hussam?
I work at the Apolitical Foundation, so I would say hopeful.
Hopeful, yes. I see broken, unfinished. My word would be process, which I think relates to unfinished. It's always evolving, and we have to continue to work at it.
Absolutely, but fragile is in the middle. You know, that's very important. Precarious.
Challenged, evolving.
Wow. Freedom. Superficial. Okay. Hard takes. Hot takes. Great. Endangered. Fake. Wow. All right. So we'll share also this with you on our LinkedIn for sure. It seems like a very interesting takes on democracy.
Yeah, thank you guys, everyone, for participating. This has been an insightful exercise, and we're definitely interested to tell you about how your responses compare to this new data that we have that we just released last week.
Absolutely. Can we go back to the presentation, please? So yeah, your numbers were better than this, I would say. Yeah, we had like the majority willing to considering or running for office, but it's not very low on the general public, and it is 1 in 4 basically for people across the world have either run or considering running for office. And this number is basically based on a survey that we conducted with GlobeScan that surveyed 28,000 people in 29 different countries. So it's a representative group of the world, I would say.
Yeah.
There is interest in politics worldwide.
Yeah, and speaking of your one word, hope, this gives me a lot of hope.
Absolutely. But I also asked them about the barriers that they're facing. So just to reflect the same question that we asked you here. And apparently financial resources is one of the main barriers for getting into politics. Politics becoming very expensive, apparently. A lot of people don't know how to begin. And they worry about their family well-being and worry about their mental well-being, basically. 1 in 4, basically, worry about their mental well-being when they're getting into politics.
Right, and as we mentioned, our Mere Mortals report has resources and information about how you can support your mental well-being as a politician, so we encourage you to check that out.
Yeah, so back to the question. Why do we need democratic innovation? Yeah, we think that our democracy is not a finished product. It's an evolving creature. It basically has to evolve according to the needs of the people. We have 18th century politics. Do you know why we have right and left in politics, in political parties? Raise your hand if you know. Okay.
Some people, yeah.
Some people know, yes. We have right and left in political parties because it started actually in the French Parliament in 1789 during the French Revolution. People who were with the revolution sat on the left, and people who were against the revolution sat on the right. So we have, until now, we're still using the same terminologies that were created 230 years old. It's not a bad terminology, but it is an old one. You know, it needs an update. It needs a new way for us to look into politics. We're still also using 19th century institutions. But parliaments and municipalities also evolved in, the shape that we know now evolved back then. We also are still using 20th century technology. Our voting systems, our technology in general for democracy is 20th century technology, trying to solve for 21st century issues. We have 21st century problems. We have evolved as a society. The technology in general have evolved. We landed in the moon, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago. And with that same technology, we have it now in our iPhones, basically. In your pockets, basically, you have the same technology or the level of technology that landed us on the moon. So we evolved in the last 2-3 centuries way more than our democracy. And democracy has to pick up, has to be more innovative. We have to be more innovative to actually pick up and, reach that level of innovation that we have.
Yeah.
And we have discussed voting in the previous session, but voting is not and should not be the only way we interact with democracy. Voting is just you vote once every 3 or 4 or 5 years in your country, and it feels like you're going, and this is John Alexander's book as well that Kim mentioned, it feels like you're going to a restaurant or to a menu. You're picking basically the item that you like this year. Next time maybe you change it. So it's a consumer or a consumer relationship, a transactional relationship with politics, which is not very sustainable. We are citizens. We are people who have to be involved in democracy, have to actually have an integral part of democracy, not just go there once every 4 years and decide.
Right, we need to change our ways from linear to a more circular politics where we're having conversations and engaging with our politicians at all levels of the election cycle and every year, not just election years. Absolutely.
And that's why also we're talking about in the Apolitical Foundation about circular power politics. Politics should not be linear, should not be we vote for a politician, so they serve us, so it's just a linear relationship as just mentioned. It should be a circular relationship where we empower our politicians by communication and collaboration with them, and they empower us as well by communication and collaboration with us. So it's a circular relationship. It is the antidote for populism. Populism, again, democracy is fragile, and populism is one of the things that make it fragile. It is the antidote for populism. We cannot keep basically, working on linear politics and expect that we can fight populism. We have to work on circular power politics. One last slide before we go into the Hall of Fame presentation is this technology adoption curve. Who recognizes the technology adoption curve? Great. So some of you do. So I'll explain it very, very briefly. So you have the innovators. Okay. So people, for example, if we take the iPhone, Apple, created the iPhone. They are the innovators. You have the early adopters, the people basically who would sleep in front of an Apple store before the iPhone 15, 16 comes out. You have the early majority, the people who started using it after them, who made it cool to use the iPhone. The late majority, the people who started using it when it became cool, basically. And you have the laggards, people who were still, or they were forced out of their BlackBerries, basically, when it stopped working. So this is the technology adoption curve. And we see in our research also on democratic innovation, it's similar for democratic innovation. We see that there are innovators, there are innovations all around the world, there are early adopters, and I guess our Hall of Fame is there, people who are basically early adopters of democratic innovation. But we see this gap between the early adopters and the early majority. And this is something that was mentioned in the morning, we need to advocate for democratic innovation. We need to advocate for civic engagement. We need to bridge this gap, cross this chasm from early adopters to the people who would make it cool, to have democratic innovations. You have, journalists, party youth wings, donors who are interested in democratic innovation. So the traditional political parties adapt it and actually make it a mainstream norm.
Yeah.
Great. So that's my part. Now, to you, Jess, to introduce the early adopters of democratic innovation, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so keeping in line with this bell curve, our award recipients are the early adopters. They are the ones that are, metaphorically sleeping outside of the forum, revved up about democracy. So this is really exciting, and I have to say, working with them behind the scenes was an absolute pleasure. They're not just remarkable leaders, but good people, and they care deeply, and this is exactly the kind of people we need more of in our politics. So they are inspiring my hope in the future of political leadership, and I know that they'll inspire yours as well. So without further ado, we are so honored and excited to announce the 2024 class of Democratic Innovators for the Hall of Fame. For his use of deliberative democracy to strengthen social cohesion through a shared vision for the future of the community, Aaron Violi. For redefining the political space to include gender inclusivity in decision-making processes, Choi Hoi-jung. For his leadership in pioneering deliberative democracy in Latin America, Carlos Fernando Galán. For advancing democratic engagement and transparency between the national and county levels of government, both the majority and minority leaders of the Kenyan Senate will be accepting this award. And finally, for his lifetime of networking and organizing with colleagues inside and outside of the UK Parliament to renew democracy, Graham Allen. Now, Graham unfortunately couldn't be here with us today due to illness, but he is here with us in spirit and on the screen to discuss why continuously innovating democracy is so important, to share a little bit about his own story and about what this award really means to him.
Hello everyone, hello Hussam, hello everyone in the room, and apologies that COVID means that I can't be with you in person. But thank you for this wonderful Hall of Fame award that I gratefully accept on behalf of all those deliberative Democrats like yourselves who work so hard and tirelessly, both in the UK and internationally. Now, when talking about politicians and deliberative democracy, my key word is partnership. Without that, none of our work in Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland will progress well. The best global example of politicians working in partnership with citizens is from our friend and neighbour, the Republic of Ireland, where the recommendations of 6 highly successful citizens' assemblies have in part or entirely become law. Now, we in the UK also have an exciting opportunity to extend citizens' assemblies and deliberative democracy. We have a new government and a Prime Minister publicly committed to restoring trust in politics by re-engaging citizens. Those of us who are in the field are actively building that trust with government, the elected legislature, parliamentary officials, the civil service, and where possible, across the party political divides. The latest education and training work on this took place just last week. But this can't be about preserving the democratic status quo. It has to be about evolving and improving, making our democracy fit for purpose. Internationally too, complacency is not an answer. Our teams have contributed 3 proposals to the Global Summit for Democracy, a global citizens' assembly, a global what works evidence base for deliberation, and a global Marshall Plan for rolling out deliberative democracy. These aren't ideas to be noted, they're proposals to be enacted. Democracy everywhere now has to meet the challenge of autocracy. Deliberative Democrats, hand in hand with politicians, have to take the lead. So I wish you well in your deliberations this week, and of course, thank you so much for this award. As we stand with you, we hope to be worthy of that award. Thank you so much.
Yes, so thank you, Graham, for sharing about your story. I know he's watching at home. And I encourage all of you to go to our webpage and read about the other leaders and their projects, because although they are the first of their kind, they are designed to be replicated and adapted to all kinds of contexts. Then, talk to your local politicians. Share with them why democratic innovation is so important. Bring your ideas to the table. Bring these ideas to the table. Because great leaders exist and they will listen and they will act. And finally, thank you to all of the 2024 Hall of Famers for giving us hope and for inspiring the next class of democratic innovators who we will be here, right here next year to honor in the 2025 Politicians Hall of Fame. Thank you.